Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural GEG Instructional Coaches Meeting. It is so great to see everybody. I'm so thrilled that you are all here. It has been an exciting last couple months, and I'm so thrilled that we are kicking off today and having all of you guys join us, and of course, checking out all of our resources and recordings. We have a fantastic evening today, one that I hope that everybody gets a chance to contribute to. So before we get started with our conversation today, let's kind of share a little bit about how we got here and where we would like to go with this group, and maybe how we can support each other, because the last few months, like I mentioned, have been absolutely amazing and fantastic as we go through here. Here's a brief agenda. There is a link. Cami, maybe we could, I'll throw this link and stuff like that into the chat here. Or actually, better yet, Cami, can you throw a view only link in the chat so people can see? Okay, we'll do a little welcome and introduction now, talk a little bit about what the group is, why it's here, talk a little bit about how everybody can support and contribute. And everybody has been contributing so much in the last couple of weeks. It's been absolutely amazing. Talk a little bit about today about our monthly goals and calendar events. And really, we're here for an amazing conversation. If there's something that you'd like to share on the topic, we would love to have you take the mic and run once we get into that part of the conversation. If there's a demo that you'd like to try, we kind of envision this as being just a big round robin and smackdown. If you hear I'm a little raspy today, I teach middle school. So that's why my voice is a little bit the way it is. I spent the last two days of school, both Friday and today, teaching the kids introduction to Google Keep. And as you may understand, getting kids to understand the value of note-taking and stuff like that's a little bit fun. So apologize off the bat for being a little bit raspy today. I don't have the usual podcasting mic. So let's kind of jump in here. We are Google Education Group for Instructional Coaches. This is an amazing opportunity for us. And I want to say thank you to Kim and everybody on the Google Education team for supporting this, helping us get it launched. And we've had a lot of meetings throughout the last few weeks just to get this thing underway. For those of you who don't know, Google Education Groups are volunteer driven. They're educators putting together a group to support people in their region, in their community. So oftentimes Google Education Groups are by state or by territory or by region, or I would imagine by province. We decided that we wanted to do something a little different. We wanted to do something that could be supporting all instructional coaches, whether they're reading coaches, technology coaches, math coaches. And I'm so thrilled that this concept has been adopted, accepted, and is taking off. This group right now is being led by myself and two other amazing people. My name is Jeff Bradbury. I'm an educator from Connecticut, and I've been with Google, I've been a Google education person for the last many years. I'm a Google education innovator, Google certified coach. I was a Google certified trainer, and I've been working with the GEG program since its inception. Started off creating Google education groups in New Jersey and in Connecticut. Started Google education groups New England, and looking to create something that is for coaches, by coaches. And I've got two amazing co-leaders here. Lori, who is not able to be on the call at the moment. She's at another meeting right now. And another amazing educator that I've had the pleasure to work with and have on the podcast for a long time. Cami, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself?
Sure, and Jeff's going to check on that waiting room. So yes, my name is Cami Cannikins, and Lori and I actually were in the same Google Innovator table group just over a year ago in Chicago, and I see Greta Sandler's with us tonight, and she was in our cohort as well. So I've known Jeff and Lori for a long time. I think we're all also ISTE community leaders as well. So we've crossed paths in lots of places. Like Jeff, I'm an innovator and a Google certified coach and a Google certified trainer. And so we have been, loving the Google PLN for a long time. And one of the things for me, I'm from Canada, and it's so great to see places all over the world in this call tonight. And in Canada, we haven't traditionally had a lot of really strong GEG groups. Now, just last year, there was a GEG in my province in Alberta that started. Hasn't had a lot of activity. So for me, I've been really interested in joining this GEG because where I'm from, there haven't been a lot of really active GEGs. So that was something I was really excited for.
And I'm looking forward to building this with everybody. The way that GEGs work is usually there's a few people who are on the leadership, but the way that I like to look at this group is this belongs to everybody. This is not going to be the three of us planning things and doing things. If somebody here wants to take the initiative and create a meeting for the community, let's do it. If somebody wants to do a demo slam night, or if somebody wants to create something and put it on the website, please do. I want this more than anything to be a community that is global and that runs and runs and runs. And that's amazing that there's so many people here. So we talked a little bit about what is it, and basically we are a professional learning community for coaches by coaches. But when I say coaches, I really do mean instructional coaches. I mean digital learning leaders. If you're somebody that is in charge of instructional coaches, you're an administrator, but you are supporting instructional coaches. Anybody in that area, we would love to have join this group. The more that people can understand the coaching position, the more that the coaching position can thrive. Let's be honest, the coaching position needs support now more than ever. Going to ISTE over the summertime, hearing all the different school districts, the major school districts that over the last couple months have slashed their coaching programs was heartbreaking. And I don't want to say names, but major city-based coaching programs that in the past were 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 coaches. Now they're down to 2. Now they're down to 4. And so it's important that we come along here. These meetings are also open for everybody. So I put this invitation out to as many GEGs as possible. I put this out to my newsletter. I put this out to to other non-GEG newsletters and to the ISTE newsletters and to the ASC. So these, we would love to have these meetings be open and available. And if you'd like to join our GEG officially, fill out that form. We would love to have you guys on here. So our mission really is to empower coaches by fostering a collaborative community where we can share evidence-based coaching strategies. That's what we're here to do tonight, and to develop practical resources using our Google Workspace tools and collectively improve our practice to drive teacher growth and student achievement. Our vision is to elevate the profession of instructional coaching by creating a definitive community of practice where all coaches are supported to become force multipliers, scaling pedagogical excellence and integrating technology that empowers teachers to make a measurable impact in their classrooms. Let's face it, coaches don't work by themselves. They work with everybody in the district. Right? So again, we're here for coaches and integration specialists, digital learning people, curriculum specialists. If you support teachers, you're a coach. Please feel free to come. Please feel free to share this with other people here. Really, we're deciding to bring 2 different things together. We want to have a connected community, and we also want to have a centralized resource hub. And so there's a few different things we can kind of go through here about how we're going to do this. We would love to have you guys post questions. Cammie's looking in the comments right now. We can talk about those as we go through. We can even use those as website material, blog posts, etc. Please help us spread the word. We'll talk a little bit about our coaching resources soon. And the last 2 things are here are suggesting a meeting topic and signing up to present. We posted a couple weeks ago the September topics. And today we're going to be talking about today we're going to be talking about how to get started using Gemini. Looking forward to hearing how you guys are using AI. On September 18th, everybody here should have a calendar invite for that because I put you on both to build relationships and launching coaching cycles. So you can see these topics here month by month. These are just suggestions. They're not written in stone yet. If you have a topic, please feel free to let us know. If you'd like to lead a meeting, please let us know. We would love to do that. The idea here is 2 meetings a month. And the idea is 1 Google app based and 1 coaching pedagogy based. So we're talking not only the technical stuff, but also the how do I make my program grow and run. There's a number of resources that are available, and we'll make sure that everybody has this if you don't already. But we have our fantastic GEG website. Cami, maybe you can put some of these links and stuff in the chat as we go here. But our Google website has all of the information that we have in here from our upcoming events, all the links to different courses, how you can become a Google certified champion, how you can become a Google certified coach. And as all these things start coming out from Kim and the EDU stuff, we're going to try to use this as a hub. It also has the beginnings of a fantastic resource center. And this, again, is by coaches for coaches. So over here, it says submit your coaching resources. That gives you this form. And please feel free. Blogs, podcasts, book recommendations, lesson plans, slide decks, newsletters, basically anything that you guys have or would like to share, please bring in. Everything gets sorted out on here. Everybody gets credit for stuff. This is all able to be filtered by resource, by contributor type. So is it coach created? Is it company created? And then also by list and by type. So if you're looking for great things, there's a lot of resources here already, and we would love to have you contribute. I kind of been getting into the routine with myself. As I'm creating things, I'm just adding it in here as there's adding it in here. So, and I want to say thank you to everybody out there. If you have been contributing, there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of blog posts. There's a lot of newsletters. Like this is growing every single week. So please feel free to check this out. Please feel free to contribute to all of this stuff. I got to tell you, this is my favorite slide out of everything. I am floored by this. Since June 2025, when I first was the crazy person at ISTE and I approached Jenny McGuire and I approached Kim and we talked about these things, we've had over 517 people fill out the Google form to register for this group. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. That is an amazing, amazing number. Please continue to sign up. It's also really important that we sign up with our non-school account. We're having some issues there. And so that's why when we look at members of the Google group, which is how we're going to mostly be like communicating with each other, it's 342. So that tells me that there's about 200 people here that their school may be blocking Google groups. So if you're registered, if you're here, but you are not yet getting all the Google group messages, please let me know, or please register again with your Gmail account or whatever you might have. I would love to get these numbers as similar as possible, but 517 out of that, 40 different countries have signed up for this global, I can't say this right now, middle school, global Google education group. 40 countries. That is outstanding and amazing. There were over 270 people registered for tonight's session. I don't know how many people are here right now, but over 270 registered for this session. So again, those 270 are also registered for September 18th. And out of that right now in that group that we have 86 total coaching resources and growing constantly. I'm trying to keep up with all the extra work here, but would love to work with you guys. And again, thank you for being here. I can't believe we're over 517 registered members. So just a quick commercial. Our next meeting again is going to be on the 18th. We're going to talk about building coaching relationships, launching coaching cycles, but I'm done talking for now. The idea for this is really to open this up to everybody. So let me ask you, Cami, and then maybe we can pass the microphone around. Gemini, and we can even add Notebook LM in here, but Google as an AI resource, Cami, have you started playing around with it? Have you been using it? And if so, what have you been using it for?
Well, Gemini is my go-to. Sorry, am I getting an echo? Am I echoing? Not too bad. Okay, so Gemini has become my go-to, and part of it is because it's in our, when we use it in our school domain, it's just that much safer, more controlled than using ChatGPT, which is just a consumer product. And since ISTE even, there have been so many incredible changes to Gemini. So if you haven't tried Canvas in Gemini, if you haven't tried deeper learning, and I want to know in the chat, have you tried storybooks? That's found under the gems. Like, we want to know, let's have this let's go in the chat. Have you tried storybooks? Have you tried the Canvas feature? We'd love to know what you're using there. And then of course, it's really hard to talk about Gemini without talking about Notebook LM, because I'm finding that is such, like, for people in schools with jobs and resources, coaching, in our coaching role, what we can do with Notebook LM with our resources and our, the documents that matter to our specific situation, super valuable notebook. So Sheila's making her own gems. Some have tried storybooks, some haven't. Oh yeah, deep search. Thank you, Sheila. I forgot to mention deep search. Excellent.
Does anybody have, for those who haven't seen it yet, would anybody be able to demo or share their storybooks that they've had? Or is there anybody who has a really cool storybook that they wouldn't mind checking out? Mike, I have not nano bananaed myself yet.
Oh, I haven't. I've been seeing lots about that yet, Mike, and I haven't done that yet either. Yes, Michael is talking about the shareable gems, which we have been told is coming. So yes, that being able to share those with people in our domains more easily, and for sure will be great. Look, Kim says it's coming. There we go.
Mike just sent a link. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, picture me. Got that there. Now, Cami, one of the things that I keep sharing with my staff the best that I can is, we have Gemini and we have Notebook LM. How are you describing the differences? How are you not just clumping all this into, hey, it's AI and it's helping kids cheat and all those, like, it's bad and it's hard. Like, how are you sharing this with your staff to maybe help them understand what this world is?
Well, I'm actually really working on that and trying to figure out all the right ways. So this year, as a coach, every year we launch a skills blitz, a skills challenge. One year it was, Google Drive, organizing your Google Drive. We've done a Chromebook blitz and a Google search blitz and a Canva blitz. And this year it's going to be Google AI blitz. And so we're going to, lots of our teachers still on their own time, they go to ChatGPT. Lots of people I'm finding still don't know about Gemini. So my number one goal is to bring them into Gemini. We haven't turned on 13 plus, but I think that's going to be coming. So a tool that our students can use. And then, the biggest thing as I look at helping them understand, well, what is available in Gemini and then Notebook LM, I think the Notebook LM part that's so powerful, or the biggest distinction that I see, is that it's Notebook LM is exactly what you choose. It's not pulling from who knows what on the internet that the LLMs have been trained on, right? The more I listen to talks about those huge LLMs, I don't know that the people in charge of them necessarily know all the things that they've been trained on and gotten all their information from. So the difference there is that unlike Gemini or ChatGPT or one of those huge large language models where we're not really sure what is being trained on, and we know it can also be trained on things that aren't necessarily truthful. Notebook LM is your materials. It's your pieces that you choose, and then that deep dive, that like just what it can do with those, the audio, the podcast, the videos, the mind maps, like just so powerful, because it's the things that I've chosen. And then when we think about using potentially at the point when we can use that with our students, you know, creating those notebooks of the things that we've curated from them to use, for them to use, and what that could look like.
I had this conversation with a teacher who's pretty tech savvy, but not quite fully there. And it just kind of hit me. And I said, and I'd love your feedback, everybody, on this, but Notebook LM is your your left brain. Very analytical. What it sees is what it gets. It gives it right back to you. Here's the mind map, all those things. Whereas Gemini is your right brain. It's your creative side. So I've been showing them how, you know, you bring everything into the analytical side. And once you're finally there, I save it to a doc or something like that, bring it into Gemini, then I play with it, right? So I'm doing all of my research in Notebook, and then Gemini writes my blog post or Gemini writes my newsletters. And I don't know if you guys have tried this yet, but setting up a prompt for Gemini to write your daily newsletter on Parent Square or something like that. I showed a teacher that today. She fell in love with it. And so just helping teachers save a little bit of time was absolutely fantastic. Helping a teacher save 20 minutes a day because she doesn't have to redo an entire Parent Square. So look, just take all your assignments, put them in a doc and have Gemini read it and make up a little thing. She was all over me after that, which was absolutely fantastic.
Using a gem for that?
Not
Jeff,
yet.
or just
I'm going very slowly with my group because they're still new. They're still in the, you know, I'm teaching digital media. So they come down and they tell me, why am I teaching the kids how to cheat on their tests? And I'm going, nope, that's not what I'm doing. I'm actually teaching them how to do research skills. And here's how it works. Mike, do you have anything that you want to show off or demo or would anybody like to demo? Please feel free to come off of mic and have a conversation here.
I'm happy to share that Google Picture Me thing if you would like.
Please do. I'd love to.
Yeah, I didn't make this. I actually found it on Gemini's Instagram, which is one way of finding people's resources. It's Picture Me. I put the link in the chat, and it takes any picture. Hold on. Let me see if I can find a picture. 1 second. Hold on.
And if anybody else wants to do a demo, please feel free. We're going to stop at the top of the hour, but please feel free to come on and share.
Sure. Okay. Now I'm going to upload a picture of, if this is okay.
This is like being in middle school. My kids do this all the time to me.
And then we can choose a different type of style, like let's do 80s.
Oh, Lord.
Yep. Or we could do impossible pictures because this could be like media literacy. You generate the photos and it's using Nano Banana, which is that new AI model. There you are with Lincoln. All right. And you can talk about the positives and negative effects of this. That does, I don't know. When it works, when it doesn't work. But yeah, there's different things you could try with it. It's cool for adults, but it's only cool if you get permission. And that's part of the conversation. And that's this Picture Me feature. And what's cool is you can remix it. I like the chicken tender. Where you can copy the canvas and make it your own and make your own categories up here. So I'm thinking like travel through history or anything like that. You can also download this as a image at the end. Cool.
Nice.
Yep. Let's share.
Oh, I
so Mike, does that open in Gemini?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's
a Gemini canvas.
Okay.
That's
Oh, it's a canvas. Okay.
Utilizing the Nano Banana image prompt.
Well, and then think of and maybe wouldn't this be a great subject to talk about one week is when you think about what we just saw that quickly, more and more it's just hitting me that we so much need to have media literacy as a conversation. Is this fake? Is this real? How even as adults, right? You know, with our adult ability to critical think, I think lots of adults are easily duped. But now, what about students? What about our students who, you know, what will that look like going forward in the world where it's just as likely that an image is fake as real? How do we, like, what does that look like going forward? How do we navigate that? I have no answers, lots of questions there. So if you've got a really great resource or, you know, thoughts on what that's going to look like, it just seems like it's just, you know, AI has been able to generate images for a long time already since we've had AI, but now it just seems that they're so, like, with these gems or apps that are so specific to, you know, upload your person and boom, wow.
I put a question in the chat that I'd love to have anybody come on the mic and talk about this, but are you finding that your students are excited about all of these things? Or is it just something different to them? Is it something nice? Is it something new? I know for us, like that's kind of neat how this all happens. But are the kids just like, are they interested? Where are you, for anybody out there, what has the reception been from students when trying to show them how Gemini works, how AI works, how all these different tools works, even on the picture thing or even on the LLMs? What are the students out there saying in your schools?
I can try to speak to that. I'm
Please.
John Kovac. I actually generated a presentation today in Gamma to talk about privacy on the internet. And one of the images was clearly generated by AI. The students picked up on that. And then the conversation turned to, well, what is the purpose of AI? And they all had a very tight misconception that AI was out to take away jobs and it was a bad thing. And I said to them, well, that may be your view, but I don't think you've actually had an education on the subject. And that's when I said to myself, yes, the next 2 to 3 weeks has to be lessons around AI literacy. You know, and I usually just introduce things to my students, and I'm talking, these are 5th grade students, right? But I don't touch on the subject unless I feel that they're ready to be receptive to it. And what I heard today, they're more than ready to hear what AI can and cannot do and the benefits of it.
What grades are you referring to?
I teach 4th grade and 5th grade students computer science.
Nice. Where?
At Buckingham, Brown and Nichols in Massachusetts.
Nice. Today, let me see if I can get back onto screen share here. I spent the weekend playing with Notebook LM.
I think it's just so, like, this right here, you know, like the idea, I'm doing a Google Keep lesson for some college students in a couple weeks, and I hadn't even thought about that format, right? It's like, oh my goodness, yes, I need to do that. And, you know, Mike did a GEG video from Notebook for his new Long Island GEG, and Jeff and I didn't even think of that, right? So, you know, those kinds of things, that's, for me, like, those tools are so powerful. And every time someone tells me, well, I did this, I'm like, that's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, that's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? So this would be such a great opportunity for you to share your brilliances with us, right? Because, you know, it might just have seemed so sensible to you, like, oh, this makes the most sense to make this thing in Notebook or Canvas, or what, you know, somewhere in Gemini. Share that, because it's likely that someone else hasn't thought of that and will be like, I need to do that. So we'd love to have you share.
Tammy, have you played with many of the Google Classroom features? And if so, do you have a favorite?
Well, actually, I started to play. What I found, and I used it quite soon after it was introduced, what I found was that some of them. So I would go into the one that I was trying to make was a decodable reader. We do lots of decodable readers. And so I have tried making decodable readers for like since AI came out, and unless it hasn't been great, and it's gotten better and better. So I was really interested in the Gemini one. And what I found is that I started the process, and what happened really quickly was I got shut down because I have Workspace Plus in my district, but I don't have a premium paid Gemini account. And so I had like maybe made 1 or 2 prompts, and it told me I had reached my limit of prompts. So that shut that down pretty quickly. And then I can't remember what else I tried, and the same thing happened. So it's like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on here. And I haven't dug in since then. So I'd love someone to say that was just me and I should go back and try again.
I know for myself, I've been playing with the different tools. A lot of the classroom stuff, I guess they're essentially gems that kick you out into Gemini rather than being like native tools inside, which is great. But I've been playing with the difference between the various LLM tools that are out there, non-Google. I've been playing a lot with the notebook LM stuff, but also playing with Notion AI just to try to see what the prompts do on different things. And for instance, I do a lot of my lesson planning in Notion, but then I'll take that and I'll pull that into Gemini, and that's more creative. That's more help me build a slide deck, describe what the slide deck looks like. If you're using a Canvas on Gemini Pro, I've been building a lot of brand kits through that. If you look at TeacherCast right now, I will show you almost everything right now through TeacherCast. Here's his great website. A lot of this work here, this was all done through Gemini, just having those conversations back and forth of what are the colors, what are the fonts, what are those different things. And then I was able to then take that into the coaching world and go, okay, help me create this for my kids. Everything that I ask a question for the group. If anybody has a question about Gemini, Notebook, LM, or AI, would love to have you on that. John, I have not yet tried Perplexity yet. What am I missing?
Let's see, how do I describe it? I love the Perplexity because it does a pretty good job, and it gives you nice references to allow you to then dig deeper if you choose to. I favor that for most of my work. I know ChatGPT is good at what it does, but I sometimes feel bombarded with the amount of data that I get with some of these LLM models. And I usually start with Perplexity. I build up my, if you will, system prompts and user prompts, and I'll feed it into the various systems to make sure that what I created in terms of a prompt is, how do I say, tight, meaning that no ambiguity, is clear and concise. And I can only get that feeling that I've done a good job when I can put it through multiple LLMs and get consistency in terms of response or content. But like you, I tend to have a suite of LLMs that I move around depending on what I want to do. And Notebook LM, for me, it's my go-to when I want to have that person sitting next to me that I could bounce ideas off. Yes, you put a lot of material in there, and I can then turn around to it and get that audio piece done and have it play back what it's the material that I provided, and then interject questions around the material that I provided, which is what I love. You see, it just seems like you have a ready companion beside you that can give you honest feedback and answer real-time questions.
I stuck a link in the chat to a notebook. I don't want to pull it up because I'd rather have you guys check everything out. But I created a notebook to curate a bunch of resources for Google Keep. And mostly I found a bunch of YouTube videos, Jamie Keats and some other people like that are doing these really creative things. And then I found all of the official Google Education work documents that they have in their support center. And I put all of that stuff into an LM, and then the nice thing about Notebook LM is that you can share. Now you can share the whole notebook where they see the three panels, the left, the middle, and the right, or you can choose just to have it be the chat. And because I want to work with this on my students, I just gave them the chat. So if you can see the chat over there, check this out. I love some feedback on this, because this could then easily be putting in your school's, the lunch menu and the student handbook and, or the calendar, all of that stuff, where students and or parents and or teachers, they don't have to see the whole thing, but they've got a chat box and a topic, and it runs just as you need to. I can see this evolving with Google as time goes through, but I think this is a really neat thing where you can now create these detailed chatbots from, hey, here's some videos. Ultimately, I'm going to take my entire class website and stick it into the Notebook LM and just see how it works. That way I've got a chat box to go off of. The kids have a chat box to go off of. Now, I want to talk for a little bit about longevity on here. And again, please feel free to come off of mic and share this with me. But here's what I found out through trial and error. And a lot of this I found out just by asking it questions. But if you put a website address, let's say you put teachercast.net into Notebook LM, it's only looking at that one page. So I've been hunting for answers of how do I have it see all of my stuff? I wanted to read all of Edutopia to find a thing on social emotional learning, and it doesn't. So that's one of those things that was a growing pain for me. I had to figure out, I can't just put my website and then go, which podcast has this? I need to put every single page in, or so in other words, whatever the source is, that's all it's taking. The other thing I found out that was interesting is, and this is a twofold thing, if you put a website in and the website changes, Notebook LM does not know that it changes. However, if you put a Google Doc in, slide sheets, whatever, and then the Google Doc updates, you can actually click on the Google Doc inside of the sources, and it'll reconnect to your Google Drive, Google Doc, and it'll redo it. So if I ever update, let's just call it, if I ever update a TeacherCast blog post, I'd have to resource that same blog post to make sure that Notebook has the most updated thing. That was a new thing that I had to get used to, because sometimes we just put 100 sources in and have it run with things. If I don't know that it's not the most updated information, we need to figure that one out. Or maybe there's going to be some way for the AI to, ping a website and realize if it's changed or if it has an update or something like that. Gemini, I thought that I could just put in a website in a chat, and as long as the chat's running, it's always there. But I've noticed that after a few days, it forgets all of the memory that's above it. So if I put in a website for Edutopia today, I can't go back 3 weeks from now and say, hey, pull up that website. It's best if I give it the link again. And so that way it's, Gemini I see running on short-term memory, Notebook LM I see running on long-term memory, if that makes any sense. Does anybody agree with that? Yeah.
Description. And I hadn't ever really, well, I guess I just hadn't thought that deeply about it, but that really makes sense, right? That Notebook LM is the things like kind of that long-term, it's your collection, you curate that space, whereas Gemini more of a short-term. So I really like the shortcomings actually that you pointed out, because I think sometimes we assume that it's, using the new thing, but certainly not maybe not doing that. Kyoko asked in the chat earlier where to start if you're new to these. And my suggestion, I wrote in the chat, I would say start with Gemini and just see how it's different than ChatGPT. If you've used ChatGPT, I find them fairly similar, but that's where I would start, is just try that out. If you have others, I would love it if you shared some advice for Kyoko of where to start.
If you look at this and say, Notebook LM is, I don't want to say the word ignorant, that's not the right word, but it doesn't know anything until you fill it. Gemini, however, knows everything. You just have to focus it, right? So if I come over here and I say, what do you know about Google Champions program? It knows to go find information and bring it in. So right now it's just doing a blank everything out there in the world. It's trying to find things and bring it in, right? And so I just started asking it questions. Again, if I'm over here in Notebook LM and I create a new notebook and I just ask it a question, and I'll ask it the same question. Well, I can't really ask it a question because there's no sources yet. So there's that, right? But this is now telling me everything that I can find. So I would love other people to chime in on this. I just started asking it questions. What do you know? Like, what do you know about me? What do you know about this? How do you find, like, because, you know, we all kind of have these, you know, we're all Googleable. So I just started asking it questions. What do you know about TeacherCast? What do you know about my podcast? How many episodes? And it was pulling things that I did years and years and years ago. Right. Start with the problem you're trying to solve, right? So here I would say, how do I plan for a Google Meet with more than 300 people signed up? Let's just see what happens, right? But anything is possible. Now then you can get into tell it who it is, right? And we can go into prompt science and stuff like that. You know, you are a middle school teacher, you are doing this, your audience is this, but you don't really need to get into prompt science. Just start asking it questions. And this is what I'm going to do with my kids. And whenever I do this with my kids, I always start with, hey guys, you know that when we do this, we're on the open internet and we know that there's things that could happen. And, you know, we do the digital citizenship conversations, but just because right now, I mean, this is saying verify you've got the capability. This is very technical right now, right? But I could ask, how do I write an agenda that is enter for a 300 person? How do I write an agenda for people? So now I'm kind of focusing the question down a little bit. And in essence, it's the same question, but I'm just changing the words around a little bit.
Jeff, Catalina had a question,
Sure.
and you're playing around. If Jeff or someone else knows the answer to this, if you upload a Google Doc that has video links and website links, is it going to reference those items? No. I think you said no, right? No. And that would be my experience. That if you
and I tried that. I put together a Google Doc with 5 or 6 blog posts. It's not doing. I mean, Kim, it's not doing secondary sources, right? So again, if you put in edutopia.org, it's not finding /blog/contact/ it's just not doing that, right? It's just not. So that's why over here, as an example, for the Google Keep one, there's a number of sources that you and I might look at as secondary, but it doesn't understand secondary. So how do I put this? It knows brother and sister. It doesn't know cousins. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you give it what you want. It will read that page. Think of it as a middle school student. It doesn't take the extra step. And I would also say, keep everything to a single topic. Don't confuse it. You'll notice all these are basically one topic things. Go with that. Like one topic, one notebook, one topic, one notebook. Because if you're not, you're going to have a notebook with 300 different sources. And either you're going to be checking things off and checking things on and checking. It's too confusing. The other idea I would say is, and let me see if I can.
Education domain. Those haven't showed up in my education domain yet. I believe they're only in the consumer notebook LM.
So you can see that this is the beginning of a lot of stuff, right? So in my paid account, I don't have Google Classroom Gemini, but in my school account, I don't have all of these other features. The link that I put down in the chat to have you try out my notebook LM, I don't have that feature in education, or I don't have the feature yet in education. The other thing that I was showing you here, and I'll come back to this in a second, but a new feature is these audio overviews. Coaches, this is a big thing, right? I can now share briefly something about this. In other words, Google Education drops this new feature, or here's a new thing. You can create a prompt that says, you are an instructional coach. Please explain this brand new feature to a bunch of middle school teachers as if you were an instructional in other words, you can prompt these things very easily, so that way in your newsletter, it's a 2-minute description, not a 10-minute description. So this is absolutely fantastic. And you've got deep dive. Wouldn't suggest this for coaches. Nobody has the time. But I will tell you, the deep dive, I've actually gone through my new book, and I'm doing every single chapter as a deep dive. So that's awesome.
Jeff, is this your paid notebook
This is under
LM?
my paid account, yes. And then they've got debate. Now you can see if they've got these 4 things here, it's only a matter of time before they have them for the videos, right? It's going to come. You know that for the videos, they're going to have Kim. They're going to have better videos. They're going to have better present. Like, it's going to evolve a lot more, whether that is between now and the holidays or now and next ISTE. But you can see where all of this stuff is going. I'll show you this here. This is the Shakespeare, 45 different sources. They're all organized here. If I come up to Henry the 8th, here's everything. Everything. And they've even got the studio broken down with pre-made study guides, pre-made audio, pre-made this, pre-made that. It's not my world. It's impressive.
Yes, and they launched with about, I don't know, there was 8 or 10 when they launched, and they haven't added a whole bunch. Jeff, we have about 5 minutes left, just so you're aware of the clock there.
Okay.
But yeah, I haven't shared those notebooks super well. Actually, I did a video, and I've shared that with my PLN, but I haven't shared those with my teachers yet.
I can't say enough about this. You know, what was it? The OpenAI guy said, this is all amazing and this is the dumbest it's ever going to be. That means tomorrow it's going to get smarter. When I first started playing with this, the first thing that I did, and please don't, this is not a commercial, but the first thing I did was I put my book in here and I put my website in here, and I just said, summarize my book. And here is chapter for chapter, every single thing. And this has been a game changer. Like, this has been an absolutely amazing thing. So if you are still in grad school, if you're at your dissertation, all that, like, this has been absolutely amazing for it to analyze my own work. But if you are an instructional coach that has a website that has all the helps and how-tos and all that stuff, my suggestion is create a notebook and just start cataloging every single one of your websites and your help Google Docs. And that's the chat that you can send to people. I think that's a wonderful thing. Or if coaches want to get together and build one massive one. I mean, I was starting to work on this, you know, like I said, this was one for Google Keep, but you can put 300 sources in here. Why can't we come together and put together, you know, the notebook LM of Google Apps, and then share that just like we do with everything else, right? So that way here is a chat box that anybody can share with their staff, but it's all the Google official help tutorials. I think that'd be a kind of a cool idea. It's a blog post that I want to create soon, and maybe if anybody wants to help me out with that, we can do that together. But I would love to work with that with people on this group.
Those are some really good specific coaching,
yeah,
you know, like getting our coaching brains going about how to use our coaching materials. And Jeff mentioned 300 sources in Notebook LM. If you're like me and you only have the free version, it's 50, but that's still, you can still do a lot with 50 resources there.
So as we're wrapping up, just as a reminder, I am going to be, we've been doing a transcript of this whole thing. This is being recorded. I'm going to edit this out just for time and to make sure everything looks appropriate. But the idea is for this to be put out on things. Our next meeting is going to be on September the 18th. It's all about building relationships and launching coaching cycles, you've probably already been invited to this because I just put you on both things as you registered, but we would love to have other coaches. We want to make this group as inclusive. We want to make this group as big as possible. So if you're in the ISTE coaches group, would love to have you. If you're in another coach, we would love to have you. We would love to have as many people in here as possible sharing. And if you'd like to do a session on your own or suggest a topic for future things, you are more than welcome. I am going to send around probably tomorrow a little Google form that says, what did you think? What can we do for a little bit of feedback for us? But please let me know quickly if you can in the chat. Was this meeting good? Was this what you were hoping for? What can we do better? And Cami and I can share that stuff as we go through. But seriously, I think I had more than 50 people at once. Thank you guys. Cami, what did you think of today? What can you take away from this meeting and use with your staff and students in the future?
Well, one of the things that I think is so powerful is just the ability to like talk to people who are using the tools lots, right? And every time that I talk to someone else, I just get so many ideas and it's like, oh, I need to try that. I need to try that. Like I've just got this huge list, never enough time. But, for people, who are really out there and leading in the field and trying new things, so many ideas. And like Kyoko just put in the chat, lots of, a little overwhelming, all the things to try. I agree. But I think every time we hear and we see new ideas and we try new things or hear about new things, like there's a couple things that I hadn't even thought about. And I think that that's so powerful. It's been awesome to have, folks share in the chat. If you're not in the middle of supper or putting the kids to bed, that's awesome. We encourage you again to add your resources to our resource collection form. Check out the website if you haven't, and invite your friends for the next time.
And with that, I want to say thank you guys. And I hope that you guys are able to make it on the 18th. If not, we'll be bringing out the form for the October meetings very, very soon. Cami, thank you for being my co-host tonight and would love to see everybody soon. So on behalf of everybody here in Google Education Group Instructional Coaches, my name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us and keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your staff and your students. Good night, everybody.